cha bhavarthang cha atmane akalpanaya cha. Shri Shuka uvacha buddhindriya manah prana jananam asrijat prabhu matrarthang cha bhavarthang cha atmane akalpanaya cha. Yeah, please. Pranam vasrijat prabho matrarthang cha bhavarthang cha atmane kalpanaya cha. Sri Sukha uvacha buddhindriya mana prana manam asrijat prabho matrarthang cha bhavarthang cha atmane kalpanaya cha. Buddhendriya mana prana jananam asrijat prabho matrarthang cha bhavarthang cha atmane kalpanaya cha. Word to word translation and purport by disciples of His Divine Grace. Hey Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki cha, his disciples ki cha. Sri Sukha uvacha, Sukadev Goswami said, Buddhi, material intelligence, Indriya, senses, Manaha, mind, Pranan, and vital air, Jananam, of the living entities, Asrijat, sent forth, Prabhu, the Supreme Lord, Matra, of the sense gratification, Artham, for the sake, Cha, and Bhava, of birth and activities that follow. Artham, for the sake, Cha, and Atmane, for the soul, and his attainment of happiness in his next life. Akalpanaya, for his ultimate abandonment of material motives. Cha, and translation. Sukadeva Goswami said, the Supreme Lord manifested the material intelligence, senses, mind and vital air of the living entities so that they could indulge their desires for sense gratification, take repeated births, to engage in fruitive activities, become elevated in future lives and ultimately attain liberation. Purport. At the dawn of creation, when the conditioned living entities lay dormant within the transcendental body of Lord Vishnu, He initiated the process of creation by sending forth the coverings of intelligence, mind and so on for the living entities' benefit. As stated here, Vishnu is the independent Lord Prabhu and the living entities are His Jana dependents. Thus we should understand that the Lord creates this cosmos entirely for the living entities' sake. Compassion is His sole motive. By providing the living entities with gross and subtle bodies, the Supreme Lord enables them to pursue sense gratification and, in the human form, religiosity, economic development and liberation. In each body, the conditioned soul utilizes his senses for enjoyment, and when he comes to human form, he must also discharge various duties assigned to him at the different stages of his life. If he faithfully discharges his duties, he earns more refined and extensive enjoyment in the future. If not, he is degraded. And when the soul eventually hankers to be freed from material life, the path of liberation is always available. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti comments that in this verse, the repeated use of the word cha indicates the importance of all what the Lord provides, not only the path of liberation, but also the path of gradual elevation through religious life and appropriate sense enjoyment. In all their endeavors, the living entities depend on Lord's mercy for success. Without intelligence, senses, mind, and vital air, the living entities cannot achieve anything, neither elevation to heaven, purification through knowledge, perfection of the eightfold meditational yoga, nor pure devotion through the following the process of bhakti yoga, beginning with hearing and chanting the names of God. How then? If Supreme arranges all these facilities for the conditioned soul's welfare, can He be impersonal? Far from presenting the absolute truth as ultimately impersonal, the Upanishads speak at great length about His personal qualities. The absolute described by the Upanishad is free from all inferior material qualities, and yet He is omnipotent, omniscient, and the master and controller of all, the universally worshipable Lord. He who awards the results of everyone's work and the reservoir of all eternity, knowledge, and bliss. The Mundaka Upanishad states, Yaha sarvagya cha sa sarvavid yasya jnana mayam tapaha. He who is all-knowing, from whom the potency of all knowledge comes, he is the wisest of all. In the words of Brihad Aranyaka Upanishad, Sarvasya Vasi Sarvaya Ya Sanha. He is the Lord and controller of everyone. Ya Prithibhyam Tishthan Prithibhya Antarha. He who resides within the earth and pervades it. And so, Kamayata Bahusyam, he desired, I will become many. Similarly, the Aitreya Upanishad states, Aikshata tat teja srujataha. He glanced at his potency, who then manifested the creation. While Tatriya Upanishad declares, Satyam Jnanam Ananta Brahmam. The Supreme is unlimited truth and knowledge. The phrase Tattvamasi, you are that, is often cited by impersonalists as a confirmation of the absolute identity of the finite Jiva soul with his creator. Sankaracharya and his followers elevate these words to the status of one of the few Mahabhakyas, key phrases. They say that this is the essential purport of Vedanta. The leading thinkers of the standard Vaishnava schools of Vedanta, however, vociferously disagree with this interpretation. Acharyas Ramanuja, Madhva, Baladeva Vidyabhushana and others have offered numerous alternative explanations according to the systematic study of Upanishads and other Shrutis. The question Maharaj Parikshit has submitted here, namely, how can Vedas directly refer to absolute truth, has been answered as follows by Sukadeva Goswami. The Lord created intelligence and other elements for the sake of conditioned living beings. A skeptic may object that this answer is irrelevant. But Sukadeva Goswami's answer is not actually irrelevant. As Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti explains, answers to subtle questions must often be phrased indirectly. As Lord himself, Krishna himself states in his instructions to Uddhava, Parakshobhad Rishayah Paroksham Mamacha Priyam. The Vedic seers and mantras deal in esoteric terms, and I am also pleased by such confidential descriptions. In the present context, the impersonalist on whose behalf Parikshit Maharaj asked his question cannot appreciate the direct answer. So instead, Srila Sukadeva Goswami gives an indirect reply. You say that Brahman is indescribable by words? But if by the Supreme Lord had not created the intelligence, mind and senses, then sound and other objects of perception would all be just as indescribable as your Brahman. You have been blind and deaf in birth and would know nothing about physical forms and sounds, what to speak of absolute. So just as the merciful Lord has given us the faculties of perception for experiencing and describing to others the sensation of sight and sound and so forth, in the same way, He may give someone the receptive capacity to realize Brahman. He may, if He chooses, create some extraordinary way for words to function apart from their ordinary reference to material substance, qualities, categories and actions that will enable them to express the supreme truth. He is after all Almighty, Prabhu, and He can easily make the indescribable describable. Lord Matsya assures King Satyabrata that the absolute truth can be known from the words of Vedas. Madiyam mahimanam cha param brahmeti sabditam vetasya anugrahitam me samprashnen bibritam hridi. You will be thoroughly advised and favored by me, and because of your enquiries, everything about my glories, which are known as Param Brahma, will be manifest within your heart. Thus, you will know everything about me. The fortunate soul who has been graced by the Supreme Lord with divine inquisitiveness will ask questions about the nature of the Absolute, and by hearing the answers given by great sages, which are recorded in the Vedic literatures, he will come to understand the Lord as He is. Thus, only by the special mercy of the Supreme Person does Brahman become Sabditam, literally denoted by words. Otherwise, without Lord's exceptional grace, the words of Vedas cannot reveal absolute truth. Okay, please repeat after me. Otherwise, without the Lord's exceptional grace, the words of the Vedas cannot reveal the absolute truth. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti suggests that the word buddhi